right, let's speed this up a little bit. This is by Cyberpunk Dingo. It's happening. Europe is finally at the breaking point. Let's see what they got to say. What he has to say, excuse me.
For
What
years,
language are they
the
speaking?
debate around Europe's migration crisis and its rapidly shifting demographics, primarily driven by migrants from North Africa and the Islamic world.
Yo, I never understood why, bro. Every time I fucking see migrants coming in, hold on 1 second. I don't get it. I see a shit ton of migrants, but where are the women and children? I thought migrants were basically escaping from like some type of war-torn type of conflict that's going on in their countries. But if that's the case, then wouldn't there be women, children, elderly people? All I see are like really young dudes coming in here. Like, is that a coincidence? Like, what the hell's going on? Why are they all like just men and they all look fucking young?
Driven by migrants from North Africa.
Yeah, the same thing here. Where are the women? Where are the fucking women? Like, seriously.
And the Islamic world.
Oh, there's one right here, but the rest is just mostly men.
Was kept on a tight leash. The Overton window refused.
Oh, I know who this woman is, though. Hold on 1 second. Sorry for backtracking so much.
Was kept.
I know who this woman is. That's what's her name? Angela Merkel, bro. I heard that she really fucked over Germany when she was, I think, what was she, prime minister or some shit like that. Guys, let me know if any German guys, let me know if that's the case.
On a tight
Did she
leash.
fuck you over?
The Overton window refused to budge. Anyone who questioned the impact was dismissed as fringe, racist, or far right. But now,
yep, that's the case too. Every time you call this shit out and say, hey, this is fucking wrong, why are we allowing so many people to come in here, especially people who don't look like us or share our values, you get immediately, like I mentioned before in my previous videos, you get the fucking, especially to Western Europeans or Western white, they get hit with the fucking boogeyman, which is being called the race, or multiple boogeymans actually, being called racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic. All types of phobias are get thrown at them, especially racist. Racist is like the boogeyman boss for them, bro. That's like the biggest fuck. That's like Krampus for them.
In the Islamic world, was kept on a tight leash. The Overton window refused to budge. Anyone who questioned the impact was dismissed as fringe, racist, or far right. But now, even the most progressive voices can't look away because things haven't gone as planned. Politicians
See, now they're fucking creating super right-wing extremists with the fucking Heil you-know-who, you know, with the burly mustache guy. A lot of fringe groups are saying no more of this bullshit. We're tired of these fucking dudes coming in our fucking country, fucking flooding our fucking cities and shit like that, our capitals, doing stuff to our women, hitting our children, our elderly. Yeah, they're getting tired of this shit, bro. And it's going to be a really fucking bad day for like anybody of color who goes into Europe. Because now they're all going to look at you like, are you sure you're not a fucking migrant, bro? They're going to be looking at them like that, bro. And it's fucking their fault. It's the government's fault for allowing this shit to happen. But I also blame the people for allowing their government to do this shit to them. That's everywhere, bro. Because I mean, most of us are complacent as fucking. We just want to just sit back and relax and just ignore our fucking rights and shit like that. That's everywhere, not just America or like the continent of Europe. That's just everywhere across the planet.
Openly calling for mass deportations. Cities are erupting.
Yeah, like Denmark, bro. Denmark said no more of this bullshit. They really started kicking these motherfuckers out. I mean, I can't blame them. Look how small Denmark is. And I would have never guessed Denmark would have done anything like that. Because Denmark is like super, especially like the Scandinavian countries, they're like super fucking progressive. They're like so progressive that it's just sickening. So it was a shock when I fucking saw that shit.
Into violence. Ethnic tensions are no longer whispers, they're street-level explosions. What was one...
I hope he talks about that shit that happened in fucking, what do you call it, in Spain. How that they fucking beat the shit out of an old man for no fucking reason. A bunch of fucking Moroccan dudes. An old fucking man, and people just lost their fucking shit. The native Spaniard just lost their shit, you know? Oh, I know this was Macron. I forgot his first name, but I know he's Macron. I think he's the Prime Minister of France, and this is the former, was it President or Prime Minister of Poland, I think. He's probably going to talk about Poland. Poland's like, nah, we don't want y'all motherfuckers in here. We want to keep it Catholic. We want to keep it white European, aka ethnically European, Western Slavic people here. If it's Poland specifically, we want to keep it West Slavic, Caucasian, Catholic, or some type of Christian type of denomination in this country. That's just, you know, they have the right to do so, man. It's their country. And I would say the same. I would agree with them in the same sense for other people in the planet that want to do the same. For example, if I see Nigeria going through the same shit that some of these Western European countries do, let's just say, for example, in the far future, right? Nigeria becomes a fucking first world nation. bustling like a Wakanda of the real world. And then they start getting flooded with a bunch of migrants, and they start, potentially changing the demographics of the fucking country. And then you're gonna have people like the guy from Poland, what's his name, saying like, no, we want to keep our country black. We want to keep our country. I think Nigeria is Christian. We want to keep our ethnicity. We want to keep our culture. We want to keep our heritage intact. We don't want this stuff here. I would completely respect it. Saying with any other group on the fucking planet, there has to be fucking regulation. There has to be. You can't just allow so many fucking people to come into your fucking country and just do whatever the hell they want and start displacing the native people. You can't. You just can't do that. These countries are so small, especially the countries of Europe compared to the United States or the countries of Africa. You cannot compare. You can't. So you can't do that shit to the European countries. You can't.
Unspeakable is now mainstream, and some are warning that Europe isn't simply unstable, it's on the edge of a civil conflict. The most recent signs emerged from Spain. Torre
España.
Pacheco's greenhouses feed half of Europe's winter vegetables. A third of its 40,000 residents are Moroccan or Algerian temporary workers. On 10 July, a 67-year-old pensioner was robbed and beaten outside a cafe by two teens police later identified as Maghrebi. Vox councillor Jose
Maghrebis, aka, if you know what Maghrebis are, they're basically people from North Africa, typically Morocco or Algeria, but typically Morocco.
Angel Antelo posted the security camera.
¿Qué problema hay con, I can't read this, con la inmigración? I think this is Garcia. Garcia is a last name in Spanish. Que importa means who cares or something like that. But I can't read this word right here. ¿Qué problema hay en whatever? I can't read what this says. Con la inmigración. Basically, it said, what problem is there with whatever this word is with immigration? That's what they're saying. Just food for thought.
Clip on X with one line: Remigration now. A Telegram channel titled "Deport Them Now Spain" exploded overnight. On the 12th of July,
I don't blame Spain, bro. If you don't know the history of Spain and Portugal for that matter, these guys were conquered by the Muslims who came from North Africa, who came from the Maghreb back in the 8th century, in the early 8th century, in 711 AD to be exact. Yeah, these guys, they took all of the Iberian Peninsula, and they almost took France by a man named Tariq ibn Ziyad. Tariq ibn Ziyad, excuse my pronunciation. They almost went all the way up into France until Charles Martel basically told them to, basically cut that shit out and push them right back into fucking Spain. But Spain, 80% of Spain and all of Portugal was taken over by by the Islamic expansion of the 8th century, bro. You don't understand, though. These guys swept through everything, bro. Everything was swept through, bro. After the death of Muhammad, a lot of his fucking disciples basically took over, and they took the Middle East, they took the Levant, they took Egypt, they took all of North Africa, they took parts of Turkey, they took a little bit of like east, like some of the Stan countries. I'm not too sure about that, don't quote me on that, but they definitely went west, and they took all of the Maghreb, and they took Spain and Portugal, and later on they took fucking Sicily and a little bit of southern Italy. These guys expanded like a motherfucker. These guys back then were not to be trifled with until Spain pushed them out into like the close to the 16th century.
Spanish youths armed with glass bottles and iron bars marched through El Jimenado barrio, smashing halal butchers and shouting "Fuera, fuera" at terrified families.
Fuera, fuera means get out, get out.
The civil guard fired rubber bullets, 10 people were arrested, 5 taken to hospital. An interior minister blamed the violence on those who equate migration with crime for electoral gain. But in Torre Pacheco, the damage was done. North African farm workers locked themselves indoors, and the town council demanded 120 extra officers to keep order. But this wasn't an isolated eruption. The same fire had already started.
But I don't like the fact, I saw the video of what they did to that old man. Bro, that guy got beaten badly. I might post a photo up when I put this video on YouTube. But this guy was beat to a pulp. His ass was like bloodshot red. He was an old fucking man, probably in his 70s and shit. And they fucked his ass up for what? A bunch of fucking Moroccan youths, bro. A bunch of motherfucking migrants. Bro, if I ever go into a fucking country, and which would never happen because I would never become a fucking migrant, or worse, a detriment to any country or any society that takes me in, I would never be a dumb fuck like these dudes and just do whatever the hell they want and commit crimes, bro. I'm not gonna have the natives just fucking hate me, and then when the reckoning comes, I might get the fucking axe. Fuck that. I'm not doing that. If I ever do this, like end up being a migrant, heaven forbid, I'm gonna be the most respectful motherfucker in life. Try to learn the language, the culture, try to have a deep understanding, and not step on nobody's fucking toes. I am not gonna end up being, getting beaten by the fucking locals and have just the native people just fucking hate my fucking guts, or hate the people that look like me, hate my guts, and then toss me and want me out of their fucking country. I'm gonna do my fucking best to just be cordial, be respectful. That's what I'm gonna fucking do. What to try to aspire if if I ever be a migrant. Worst case scenario, or another alternate time and shit like that. You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
To spread north, reaching the streets of Northern Ireland just weeks earlier. In June, two 14-year-old Roma brothers stood in court, accused of assaulting a 16-year-old local girl behind a Lidl. Loyalist activist.
Oh, I talked about this in my last video of what's going on with Ireland. Yeah, they talked about it a little bit. How a girl got assaulted. I didn't know her age back then. They made a reference to this fucking apartment, to like these
brothers
buildings.
Stood in court, accused of assaulting a
Hold on.
16-year-old local girl behind a
Yeah,
Lidl.
they referenced to this building. I think she was killed or raped or something like that. I want to see what he has to say, but yeah, they referenced this building. I remember it, vividly.
Loyalist activists packed the pavement outside, live streaming every word, waving union flags and shouting that outsiders are preying on our kids. By the time dusk settled, masked men in paramilitary hoodies were roaming the streets with weapons. The first night left 3 terraced houses in flames. Over the following 4 nights, violence rolled like a storm front. 32 PSNI officers ended up in hospital, and 28 homes were torched or ransacked. By 13 June, 38 rioters were in custody on charges ranging from arson to possession of explosives. The old Protestant Catholic fault line, it turns out, had now been joined by a new one. Who belongs here and who does not? Just across the Irish Sea, the same fire was spreading, this time in England. In July,
yeah, it's everywhere, bro. It's everywhere. Spain. I bet they're gonna talk about the other countries too. Like, they talked about Spain already. They talked about Belfast, which is in Ireland. They talked about, you know what I mean, in the Irish land. They're talking about England. They probably talk about France next. Maybe Belgium, but I don't know. Belgium's just a shit country anyway. They're gonna talk about Germany most likely. They'll talk about Italy. So hopefully Sweden gets talked about. Hopefully they mention Denmark too, that they're saying no. They're probably gonna mention Poland in reference, since they're saying like, no, we're not taking these fucking migrants in. But yeah, I'm telling you, bro, the white Europeans, or the native people of Europe, the native Europeans, they're getting tired of the bullshit, bro. I knew this shit was gonna happen, bro. The native people are not gonna fucking keep getting pushed and smacked around by fucking people who don't belong in their country to begin with, who literally fucking look different from them. They're getting tired of that shit. And you're about to see it right now.
2025, the quiet town of Epping in Essex descended into chaos after Hadush Kebatu, a 38-year-old Ethiopian asylum seeker, was charged with assaulting a local woman. Within
Okay, this fucking word right here.
a 38-year-old Ethiopian asylum seeker was charged with
This word right here is, SEXUAL. We all know that.
assaulting a local woman. Within hours, right-wing accounts flooded X and Telegram, calling for retaliation. That night, protesters surrounded the Bella Hotel, where asylum seekers were being housed. What began as a demonstration quickly spiraled. Masked youths hurled bottles and flour, smashed police vans, and clashed with counter-protesters. Riot police were deployed, and arrests were made. Only days earlier, another migrant hotel was attacked, and now, even conservative MPs were demanding the hotel.
Wait, they get hotels, bro? Damn. And I do know that a lot of people who live in Europe or anywhere across the world, the native people are treated like garbage, and most of them live in the fucking shit and filth, bro. So I could see why they get mad, bro. They get fucking hotels, I would assume, food, warm beds and shit like that, while everybody else, especially who are poor, have to sleep, have to, eat shit. Yeah, I'd be fucking mad too.
Be shut down. From Mercia to Ballymena to Essex, the pattern is clear. A crime, a spark, then street-level violence. And this pattern reveals a lot. Tensions in Europe are no longer simmering, they're boiling over. Now, I do want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, you. No, seriously, this channel is completely fan-funded. No corporate overlord, mate. Links in the description below. Violence in the streets is only half the story, because what's happening out there is now being echoed in the halls of power.
That was Marine Le Pen, or Marine Le Pen. I think she lost, like, in the last election for I think, was it the Prime Minister for France or something like that? But not by much, though. She didn't lose by much. So that should let you know, especially like a progressive country like fucking France saying that they want fucking Marine Le Pen. That should really let you know something.
Years, European politicians tiptoed around the subject of mass migration. The language of assimilation, integration, and
Fuck that old bitch.
multicultural harmony was the only acceptable script. Anyone who deviated from it was cast as an extremist, labelled far-right, or dismissed entirely, but not anymore. Today, voices that were once dismissed as fringe are sitting in parliaments, writing laws, and shaping the conversation. In Spain,
Can I see that again? What the fuck kind of handshake was that? He really didn't want to do the Polish prime minister and the French prime minister. He was
dismissed as
like get the
fringe
fuck
are
off
sitting
me.
in parliaments,
Like, get off
writing
me.
laws,
Away from me.
and shaping the conversation. In Spain,
Did y'all see that? Is that the case now, guys? Whoever know more about European politics, was that the case? Did they like were those two on good terms? They looked like they were pissed off at each other.
Vox is no longer on the sidelines. Party spokesperson Rocío de Mer recently described Spain's immigration dilemma as requiring what she called an extraordinarily complex process of remigration. Not management, not reform, remigration. Vox leader Santiago Abascal
They're just making words, bro. They're just saying random shit. Re-immigration basically means they're just a cutesy, tippy-toeing way of saying, yo, we gotta get these fuckers out of here. You gotta go back to your fucking country. But they're politically correct, so they can't say that. So they have to like make it sound nice, so it doesn't sound like too fucked up. But we all know what's up.
didn't mince words either. In speech after speech, he called for the mass deportation of not only illegal immigrants, but also those who impose a foreign religion, disrespect women, or live off the welfare state. And it's not just Spain where
There's nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't want nobody disrespecting my fucking like female family members or disrespecting my religion and shit like that. When I might not agree with your religion, but I would respect it. I would respect whatever religion or religiosity you are, but don't you dare disrespect me. And I would always respect all of your family members or any of your friends, but don't disrespect mine. That's how it should be, bro. But there are people out in this world that don't give a fuck. There are people who support cultures that don't give a fuck about any of that. And people like that, they have to go. I mean, I agree with that.
hardline rhetoric is crossing into the mainstream. Cross the channel and you find Reform UK, Nigel Farage's reincarnated Brexit party, suddenly sitting at the top of the Westminster scoreboard. A late June YouGov megapoll ran 100,000 interviews and projected Reform would win 271 of the 650 common seats, more than Labour, more than the Conservatives, and enough to put Farage in Downing Street if an election were held tomorrow.
Wow.
Only 5 months earlier, a landmark Sky News YouGov survey had already shown Reform nudging ahead on the popular vote at 25%, with Labour on 24%, and the Conservatives pushed into third on 21%. In other words, the language of remigration that Vox mainstreamed in Madrid is now carried by the single most popular party in the United Kingdom. 10 years ago, that conversation was off limits. Now, no one can look away. And nothing demonstrates this better than how people are voting. Across Western Europe, parties once dismissed as far-right, populist, or reactionary are no longer outliers. They're winning, and they're forming governments. In the Netherlands, Geert Wilders...
Yeah, I knew they would talk about him. Or how... I like the way that he said Geert Wilders. Like, a lot of... Since he's from Dutch, it would be like Geert Wilders. Like, you got to put the emphasis on the Geert Wilders. Yeah, from the Netherlands. Like, this guy, I think he won, and he really wanted to change, like, what was going on in the Netherlands when it came to, like, immigration. Like, they did not want people that don't look like them in their country. And I think it's happening. I think that the Netherlands is getting what he's pushing.
Establishment in late 2023 by winning the largest share of seats in Parliament,
Yep.
23.5% of the vote, up
Wow.
from just 10.1% in 2021. In Italy, Giorgia Meloni's party soared from 4.4% in 2018 to a dominant 26%
Wow. Holy shit. That's fucking huge for Italy. Damn.
in 2022, catapulting her into the Prime Minister's
Grazie Italia.
seat. France saw Marine Le Pen's national rally jump to a record 89 seats
What was her party again? Marine Le Pen?
into the Prime Minister's seat. France saw Marine Le Pen's national rally jump to a record 89 seats in
National rally. Okay. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. She climbed a little bit too. Like, damn. I'm telling you, bro, all of Europe, they're not fucking around anymore. Let me rephrase that. All of Western Europe, because I don't see migrants going to Eastern Europe at all. Let's be honest with ourselves. But I guarantee you, if Eastern Europe becomes the first, like at least most of the Eastern Europe countries become first world nations like the Western European countries, I guarantee there's going to be a shit ton of migrants going in there too. But I'm telling you, bro, Eastern Europeans do not fuck around. The Slavic people do not fuck around at all. Like here in America, the white people that you don't fuck with are Serbians, Bosnians, Albanians. Well, they're not Slavic people, but they're from Eastern Europe. Albanians, Russians, Bulgarians. Those people you don't fuck with at all. Because those people will have no issues fucking your shit up. So I'm just saying, like, if they ever become first world nations in the future and they get what Western Europe is getting right now with the migration crisis and stuff like that, I guarantee you the Slavs and like the Albanians will not put up with that shit. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you.
2022's National Assembly elections, an 11-fold increase that made her party the largest opposition force in the chamber. In Sweden, the Sweden Democrats hit 20.5%
Oh, let me hear what the Swedes have to do, because the Swedes are very, very, very liberal. Very liberal.
in 2022, becoming the country's second largest party and key backers of the current centre-right government. And in Austria, the Freedom Party just made history. In the 2024 national elections, they topped the vote at 28.8%, more than any other party. A post-war first for a party with open anti-immigration and anti-Islam stances.
Please talk about Denmark.
Beneath the ballots and headlines, the ground has been shifting for years, quietly, then all at once. Across Europe, the numbers tell the story. Spain's foreign-born population has nearly doubled since 2010.
That's
Germany
crazy.
now processes over 300,000 asylum applications every year, more than any other EU country. Ireland, once a nation of emigration, saw a record 141,000 immigrants arrive in a single 12-month stretch.
Dude, you can't have that many fucking people go into your country, especially bro, most European countries are small as fuck, bro. They can't take that many people. Even if you have good, upstanding people, let's just say you have 20 million good, upstanding people that want to migrate to these countries. You can't take that many people. These countries can't take that many people. We can't take that many people in the United States. So there has to be a cap. There has to be, or else these countries will collapse. And these countries have a lot of welfare systems that they just give out willy-nilly. That has to stop too, you know? I'm sorry to say it. I mean, I don't blame these people for coming to Europe, but shit, they're gonna be like, yo, bro, we can't take you more, man. You're not compatible with us. Your culture's not like us, and also we're capped out. We can't just keep letting you come in here. I'm sorry. Shit, it is what it is.
In city after
What they gotta do, bro, is they gotta start like. This also hurts me. I always want to also ask, like the people who they're describing, like the migrants, like it's mostly Africans and Middle Easterners. What do y'all think about it? What do y'all think about what's going on when they depict people that look like you in this light? That hey, look at these. But let's be honest with you, the majority of the migrants that are coming there is typically Black and Middle Easterners, Africans, Black Africans and Middle Easterners from either North Africa or the Middle East. What do you guys think about it? Like you being depicted in that light. Do you guys hate it? Do you guys do you guys resent it? Or do you believe? Do you want to throw out the fact that they're racist? Or what do you guys tell me in the comments?
city, the same strain is showing. Emergency housing is full, classroom sizes are exploding, hospitals are overwhelmed, and local councils are sounding the alarm. And while governments insist that immigration is necessary to plug labour shortages, what people feel, fairly or not, is that the system is stretched thin and that they are being pushed to the back of the queue. In Germany,
there's nothing. Yeah, the welfare system, the healthcare system, everything is just getting it's getting to the boiling point where they basically can't fucking support it.
Nearly 2/3 of people say the country is overburdened. In Sweden and Austria, large majorities now want tighter controls. In Italy, a 2018 Pew study found just 5% wanted more immigration. The rest wanted less or none at all. The Overton window, that invisible boundary of what is socially and politically acceptable, has moved drastically. And nowhere is that clear.
I think, in my honest opinion, you should be able to express anything you fucking want without people saying, no, you can't talk about that. No, you can't say that. But in a respectable manner. You're not just going to just say, oh, no, fuck these throw in a slur. We can't have that. They're just stupid. They look like... No. A respectable conversation, intelligent conversation on why we should not have so much mass immigration. Like, that's my stance. But the conversations definitely need to be had.
Than what just happened in the UK. It was just revealed that the British government had secretly relocated nearly 20,000 Afghans into the country following a catastrophic Ministry of Defence data leak. But now it's out, and so is the price tag. The total cost of the operation is expected to hit £7 billion. In a political climate where councils can't house their own, where schools are full and budgets are thin, £7 billion for a covert relocation project is a spark in a room full of fumes. At this point, we're left with a question that's no longer fringe. What if Europe's future isn't just unstable, but ungovernable? Across the continent, internal memos, defense white papers, and security briefings are now discussing what they once avoided: the slow emergence of civil war. The first pressure point? Parallel societies. In areas across France, Germany, and Denmark.
I mean, it's just happening here too in the United States. Parallel societies, threats of civil war and shit like that. It's no different than the United States.
Local authorities
The question is, how serious is it going to be?
Longer control the streets. In Denmark, over a dozen zones are officially classified as parallel societies with their own customs and enforcement.
Yeah, if it's talking about Sweden, it'll probably be Malmo. They have like no-go zones in Malmo.
enforcement structures. In France, officials warn of lost territories where the state's writ no longer runs. The second threat, extremist escalation. In Germany, right-wing neighborhood patrols have popped up in a number of towns. In Sweden, police dismantled a jihadist cell planning retaliatory attacks in response to Quran burnings. In Ireland, Ballymena chief constable admitted that racially motivated incidents have now overtaken sectarian ones for the first time in police records.
See, this shit was gonna happen. So now they're attacking people based on race, going after people based on race. This shit was gonna happen, bro. When you have so much shit going on, like the migration crisis, like overburdened, government systems and facilities. The native people are going to get fed up about it, and now they're going to go after the people who are causing this. And everybody know who the cause of it is, mostly the government, but they're not going after the government. They're going to go after the people who are coming here illegally and through migration, like illegal migration and just flooding their country, which is mostly the Africans and the Middle Easterners. When you go to Germany, I mean, you could definitely tell the difference between a German and an African and a Middle Easterner. They're gonna go after the people who don't look like them. You know, that's in every society across the planet. If I go to fucking Japan and there's like if you're in Japan and you get a shit ton of fucking people who are migrants who come from like Afghanistan or Pakistan or Uzbekistan, and they flood their country and they start doing stupid shit, and then you have Japanese right-wing groups building, like a right-wing Japanese group start to come up and they start to hunt down, you know, like just going around patrolling and hunting down people, kind of like the Yakuza does over the neighborhoods. They're going to go after those people, and it's going to be a racially motivated attack. It is what it is. That's everywhere. Just put this and that. Just add a group of migrants going into a country and then just compare. It is what it is, you know?
As institutions falter, rival
My bad if it's a shit comparison. My bad, guys. My bad. I'm doing this shit on the fly.
ideologues step in. And finally, institutional breakdown. The UK's relocation of 20,000 Afghans brought about instant public backlash, with more data showing a £1 billion price tag on immigrants per month. Meanwhile, Germany is pushing for third country deportation deals outside EU law, and France is debating constitutional changes to restrict migration policy. None of this is inevitable, but the fact that these scenarios are no longer fringe fantasies, but logged, studied, and planned for, tells you just how close Europe is to the edge. Look, Europe isn't on the brink of civil war because people are different. It's on the brink because the people in charge refuse to admit those differences might matter. They forced rapid demographic
I think both of them are correct.
change onto populations without consent, dismissed every concern as bigotry, and let tensions fester until now. Civil wars don't start with declarations. They start with fractures, parallel societies, vigilante groups, institutional breakdown. They start when people no longer believe the system represents them or even protects them. And right now, Europe is ticking every box. Whether it escalates into something larger, I don't know. But history tells us one thing very clearly. When you ignore
If it's Europe, then it's most likely going to happen, bro. I've read enough history books and studied in school about Europe to know that these fucking guys are always on edge and always fighting amongst each other. But now they have a common enemy or enemies. Their government, number one, and the fucking migrants who come from Africa and the Middle East. So yeah, knowing this fucking continent in these guys and these people, they're probably going to go off and they're probably just going to crash out.
pressure for long enough, it doesn't go away. It explodes. Hey, you made it to the end. As always, don't forget
Yo, good fucking video by Cyberpunk Dingo. Let me give this guy a fucking like.